So, as I was saying, if Peter was working out, he would be able to lift heavier and heavier. If he's only doing his body weight, then yeah, it wouldn't really do a whole lot.
Right.
But say he got equipment from Tony Stark.
Mm-hmm.
Because Tony Stark and him are friends, or even Mr. Richards, Mr. Fantastic.
Oh.
Reed Richards. He's friends with the Fantastic Four. Reed Richards is the smartest man alive on the planet in the comics.
Mm.
And say Reed Richards built him a workout set.
Mm-hmm.
Like he has a little box that he throws down on the floor, and it opens a pocket dimension where he can go work out.
Like a gym.
Like his own home gym within a pocket dimension.
That would be. Could you imagine living like that?
Yeah. Well, now, you remember me telling you about my fan fiction for Spider-Man?
Right.
You read some of it.
Right, with the Gold Goblin.
Yes. Well, now Peter has a state-of-the-art facility
where they can make that possible, because he's
where
got free reign of the company and all the resources.
He has all the resources to create the spider's web, the organization to help other spiders.
Mm-hmm.
So think of it like the Bat Cave,
right,
where the Bat family works out and trains. He has Shang-Chi come teach the way of the spider to the other spider people.
Right. I wonder if that's something like Black Widow would be interested in too.
That's what I'm getting at. Once Peter, in my story, gives the Black Widow the option of becoming a spider person, with telling her all the benefits of becoming one.
Right, because she practically is one, just not really.
Not really, because she has the super soldier serum, not spider abilities.
Right.
Now, the spider abilities would enhance the super soldier serum that she already has in her system.
Mm-hmm.
But it will also make it so Black Widow is able to give birth to children who
have the
spider abilities,
mm-hmm.
as well as enhanced by the super soldier serum.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, it is a variant of the super soldier serum she has, given to her by the Red Room.
Mm-hmm.
But in order for her been able to do and enable for her to have children, she has to have children with people who have had the super soldier serum, and she doesn't really enjoy that aspect of it.
Well, it's a huge limitation.
It is a very huge limitation. Now, if she was enhanced by the spider serum that Norman had created, which he canonically did
mm-hmm.
At one point in the comics, it is, I don't remember when exactly it was stated. I know it was during the early days of the comics, so it could have been like the early 60s, the early 70s, or even the late 50s.
Mm-hmm.
I could be wrong on all of that. But, say, she accepts the offer of the super soldier serum.
Mm-hmm.
I mean the spider serum, to allow her to have spider abilities.
Mm-hmm.
Now.
Yeah, and she'd probably be able to withstand it too a whole lot better because of the super soldier serum.
Yes, because if I remember correctly, the first one who tried it, he just turned into a big puddle on the ground.
Oh, that sounds pleasant. Good night, hon.
I think I could be wrong. Now, people who will probably be listening to this over my YouTube will probably comment on all that, but people who already know what I'm talking about probably will correct us on that, but, which is fair enough, and I willingly accept it because I want to know more.
Right, and you want to be right about things and get things like
accurate.
Yes.
Who, what they are in the comics. One thing I really hope for is, do you remember the show Marvel's Spider-Man from 2019, 2018? It's on Disney Plus. I was going to go watch it.
I think my daughter might have watched it.
Yes. Where Peter's the teenager again, and he's going through the whole origin story and all that again. But this time he actually does punch characters, unlike in the 90s animated show.
I do think I watched it at some point. I just can't remember. I usually rewatch things because I...
Well, in that show, you see all the people gaining spider abilities. Well, Black Widow gained spider abilities. And a lot of people liked that. Well, I wanted to bring back that concept through my fan fiction.
Right.
But this time, current to the comics.
That makes sense.
Which I have, which I regrettably can say, I haven't caught up to where the comics are. Which makes it even difficult to make this fan fiction because now I have to catch up and see where
things are canon, where things aren't, and be like accurate with that.
Because I want Peter to be able to create this with Norman, because Norman is a greater help to him as he is now.
So you're like, I'm trying to make this as canon as possible and make it an entirely plausible type fan fiction.
Yes. As well as I want to show the different costumes that I can create, the different scenes I can create with my words, and show that I'm a palpable writer.
Right.
But another thing that I draw inspiration from is prior history of Spider-Man. Spider-Man has taught Miles Morales how to be a spider. You saw it in the live on the movies, right?
Miles, that's his friend, right?
Miles is the Puerto Rican.
Oh, got you. Yeah, I think so.
Into the Spider-Verse, Across the Spider-Verse movies. Well, in comics, Spider-Man didn't. The Miles did not get trained by Peter. He only learned through videos and everything else. How to fight like Spider-Man and be like Spider-Man.
Yeah,
and then he didn't go through his. He went through a similar process as Peter, but he didn't have to go through the tragedy either as much. Yes, his father died in the comics because he was part of the Ultimate Universe, which in that universe Peter is actually immortal, because of his spider biting him. Weird, weird comic right there. Apparently, his blood creates symbiotes too.
Oh. So a lot like Venom.
Mhm. In the Ultimate Comics, Miles had created his own suit to begin with. Technically, I think. Yeah, he did. But he also had Aunt May's help along the way. You know, Aunt May, Mary Jane helped him become a better Spider-Man, the ultimate Spider-Man. That's actually what he's called in his own universe. Is the ultimate Spider-Man.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
But Miles got transferred to 616 due to Secret Wars happening, which was a really interesting comics thing going on. Doctor Doom, that's actually where Peter got his black suit from. The symbiote suit.
Right.
It was basically the multiverse collapsed on itself because of one entity called the Beyonder. And yeah, it was an interesting run of comics right there.
Sounds like it.
But yeah, I honestly think my idea would run really good in the comics, and a lot of people would love it.
Are you gonna add MJ in there or
yes,
Gwen Stacy?
MJ, currently in the comics, will not talk with Peter. I told you about how she had kids with the dude who kind of pushed Peter out of the world that.
Are we talking about Hardy? Is that his name?
I think so.
I don't think she deserves to talk to Peter anyway. I didn't like her.
Well, Mary Jane throughout the comics was trying to push Peter to give up the superhero life.
Well, and then she also got very upset when the paparazzi was there, and then like he stole the spotlight, and it just seemed like, which is understandable. She didn't have to be
a dick about it.
She didn't have to be a bitch about it. Where she was just like, got super upset anytime
Peter got.
She was in his shadow.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, you do.
Well, he was also.
Shows, and he saves the world, so you have to just be a little bit realistic.
And then there was also the fact that he was also dealing with the traumas of Gwen's death, people he's accidentally killed on a couple of occasions. He was also dealing with
school, keeping it a secret.
He was dealing with so much, and she just
couldn't handle it.
Yeah, and I feel like if Peter had actually gone to therapy, he would be an even better hero.
I think so too. I think MJ needs therapy as well.
Yeah. What they should do is bring Gwen Stacy back completely.
I do like that in the last movie they paid homage, and they like had had that one save a different Gwen Stacy. You know, it wasn't his.
It was Mary Jane, but they changed Mary Jane's name to Michelle Jones.
They probably just did that because Mary Jane is
also
marijuana.
But it's the fact that in comics she is not called that.
That's true. Her new name that they switched it to is not canon.
Yes. But that's the only thing that bugged me about the MCU version of Mary Jane. And then the fact that they refused to use her last name, Watson. They bring it up in the movie, No Way Home, but they don't actually ever really mention it throughout the after that. It's kind of like out the window. Another thing that bugs the crap out of me about the MCU version of Spider-Man is they do not show that he creates his own technology. Yes, he created the web shooters. I give him that by being accurate to that. But they don't show him creating tech like he does in the comics. He creates tech based on the villains he fights. He will fight a villain and evaluate what their skills are and what their weaknesses are on that moment when he's fighting them. And then he will retreat if he's injured, if he gets injured, and then he'll make him go packing for a while, so that way he has time to build the technology he needs to defeat them.
Did you show it a little bit in
Far From Home? They show a small bit of it.
I think it's The Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
The one with Max. I can't think of his villain name at the moment.
Electro?
Yes.
Yeah, he creates a better web shooter.
Yeah, and then he figures out how to use energy can't be like destroyed, it can only be transferred, and whatever else. I can't remember
Yeah. Well, the interesting part of all that is we don't see him building like his web bombs or his other things you see him do in the comics as well. Which Insomniac Spider-Man actually goes along with the tech building part if you've played the game.
I have not played the game. I've seen some gameplay just because I think they released a version for when the PS5 came out.
Yeah.
Or one of them was you could play it on the PS5, and so they released some.
That's the Spider-Man 2 game that just came out. They also have Miles Morales, which in the Insomniac verse, he's part of the universe already, which is interesting. I won't go into that. But back to my Spider's Web fan fiction is because Spider-Man and Peter works at Oscorp now. Oscorp has many abandoned warehouses, right? So
you can use one of those for his lab.
For not just his lab, but for the creation of the Spider's Web cave or whatever you want to call it. Or the Spider's Nest or whatever you want to call it. In the show Marvel Spider-Man, they call it the Spider's Nest. And it's high up in the skyscrapers, but I honestly think if they had it, or even Reed Richards could pitch in for it too, even though aren't on talking terms right now. None of the Fantastic Four are, as far as I'm aware. But for the most part, I would think Peter would be able to he could build a central hub for all the spider people in his universe or on Earth to be able to, because there is a spider council of the universe that in 616, because every planet has a spider person technically.
Okay.
But I'm trying to stick to Earth.
Right, so he would have like one central place for like the spider's web or the spider's nest or whatever.
Just to train, just to relay information. And Peter has built portals before. He could do that again, but this time with locators built into the suits. That way they're right there immediately to the action to help the other spiders.
Yeah. I also wonder if like his personal lab or like study space or whatever you would want to call it would be attached to central hub, or if he would have like his own different location for it.
I would probably think he would have it at a different location, so that way his secret identity couldn't be revealed.
I suppose so, or his like secret technology couldn't get, like with what happened with Oscorp.
Yeah. Because in Amazing Spider-Man, you notice Peter gets a secret lab in the subway system.
Maybe we'll just keep it there.
Yeah.
Have Tony Stark like solidify it so that way it's like a bunker.
What I'm getting at is in the movie he has a secret lab. Well, imagine if that, it's not just that, it's like there's the lab, but also the training facilities somewhere else, and each of them are connected by a portal.
Yeah. Or if he would just open his own portal, that way he wouldn't have to hide one. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But it's a great thought to be doing. Because honestly, Spider-Man needs allies. And he has those, honestly. But saying that he always relies on them is impossible to say. So, I think I'm going to finish the video there.